Hey everybody, welcome back. This is chapter 9 of This Is the Way. This is also the last chapter in this series.
Yes, sir. Short book.
Very short book. What do you think of the chapter?
Yeah, I think I agreed with a lot of it. Like the parts where he's talking about like making sure that we have a foundation to stand on. Obviously, that we all know that picking up our cross, following Christ every day is not always going to be easy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I agree with, and this is not what he was saying specifically, but like with the idea that picking up our cross daily and following Jesus is hard, right? I think a lot of people are like, it's a sacrifice, it's a difficult thing, and I'm like, well, is it? I don't think it is.
I think that depends, right? Because
I mean, just hear me out here, because like if you go back to Matthew,
mm-hmm.
Jesus just says like, come and learn from me and take my yoke, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think the whole pick up the cross and follow me is supposed to be a difficult thing.
I don't think maybe difficult in the sense that you're meaning, but maybe difficult in a sense of like you have to deny your flesh, which can be excruciatingly difficult at times just because of the temptations of the world and getting caught up with chasing money or doing, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be a challenge or a fight with yourself. But yeah, I don't know. I could see how it's difficult.
Yeah, I can see situations where it would be hard, especially if there's persecution involved.
Mm-hmm.
And then depending on where you live, where you were born, what your family values are, like how you were raised,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I've seen videos of like for example, I saw this testimony of this Japanese lady talking about how Japanese people find it difficult to convert to Christianity because of how they were raised.
Mm-hmm.
They're taught to pray to their ancestors, and they're like, well, I can't pray to my ancestors anymore, like my grandparents, my parents, and I want to honor them. Maybe my grandfather was a Buddhist or whatever, and then they have like the shrines that they go to. For some people, go for whatever personal reasons, and then I know it's a yearly tradition to go on New Year's.
Yeah.
Right, to go to the shrine and wish for a good year or whatever it is. And they don't want to this was how I was born. This is what I know.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure I want to give this up. Especially part of it is because of the culture where it's really like hammered in to be part of the group, part of the crowd, part of the herd. Like, don't go against the grain. Don't stand out.
Mm-hmm.
Because nails that stand out get hammered down.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess you kind of answered your own question of if it's difficult or not, right? Like, it's gonna depend on the scenario.
Well, I didn't think it was I guess it does. Yes, it does depend on the scenario, but I didn't think it was a question. I thought it was more like, I don't think it's as difficult as people make it out to be. And
I don't think it needs to be as difficult as people make it out to be.
Maybe.
I mean, I'll give you a real world example, okay? So, a few months ago, I was having a conversation with my wife, and she was like having issues with something, and I just told her, I'm like, well, just give it to God. Like, just give it to God. And she was like, what does that mean? I'm like, well, it's honestly not as complicated as you think it is. Like, when I figured out how to give something to God, I was like, that should have been way harder in my mind, and I felt like I was fighting it for nothing. But the truth and the reality was, giving it to God is quite literally just letting go and just being like, all right, God, it's in your hands. That's it. That's the end of it. Right? And then so that was a couple of months ago. So a couple of nights ago, my wife was she's having issues with something, and then it just clicked, and then she was like, oh my gosh, why did I make it out to be such a difficult thing? It's literally just okay, It's not mine to deal with. Take it. Whatever happens, happens.
Mm-hmm.
So I think picking up our cross is kind of a similar situation where maybe we overthink it, and maybe we overanalyze it, and maybe we overcomplicate it just because of how analytical and like, I guess just how analytical the world's become, right? And how complicated we try to make everything.
I think humans in general, I don't think it matters what point in time in civilization, just we tend to make things more complicated than they need to be.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just human nature.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I would agree with you that I don't think it needs to be as difficult as some would make it out to be. But to bring it to the chapter, I like how Mark kicked it off with like, Jesus is the way. It's like the book is titled "This is the Way," and he basically just says Jesus is the way, and then he quotes John 14:16, where Jesus said to him, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me."
Yeah,
I was like, perfect.
exactly.
Like that verse speaks for itself.
It does, yes. It doesn't get more clear and concise than that.
Yeah, and then he was talking about like we need to deny ourselves and pick up our cross, like we mentioned, and then that's when he references Luke, chapter 9, verse 23. But I don't think he put the whole verse in the book.
I don't have that one memorized off the top of my head.
Well, I wrote it down. So what the verse says was, "Then he said to them all, if anyone desires to come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me." And I think that's crucial, right? Like the daily renewal portion, because every day we're going to be faced with new challenges. Every day we're going to have to strive to seek Jesus and spend time with Jesus and make an active effort to go into prayer and to choose him over the world and to choose him over our flesh. And it's a like he says in the book, like it's a repeatable action that we need to take.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. The way I look at it is, because I don't know how it works for everybody, but like when I go to sleep and when I wake up the next day, I have to the way I look at it is like I've done a reset.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I've done a reset, and so I have to, like, how I go about my day, like my morning, may or may not affect how my day is going to be. So what am I doing first thing in the morning? How is the first, hour, 2 hours of my morning look?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Am I waking up and having to clean up an accident that the cat's made? Am I gonna, or am I just quickly getting ready and going, and everything is all smooth sailing, and when I get to work, what's happening at work?
Mm-hmm.
Has there been, because usually when I get to work, the superintendent has had machinery running while I was gone, and stuff's automatic, right? So I'll come to work and be like, hey, what's going on? Are any feather bags full? Do I have to go change anything? And sometimes I get upstairs and I'm like, oh, like this morning I got to work and was like, someone texted me, he's like, okay, if you're upstairs, can you do this? And I'm like, are we done yesterday's feathers already? And then no response. And I'm just like, what's going on? And then he was having some issues, and so he couldn't respond right away. But anyway, we ended up being done. So I would quickly go and change a bunch of things over so we could start the next stuff. And it was just kind of set me behind. I had I had already kind of planned what I was going to do. And so, sorry, getting off topic. So I think in the morning, because I think I do, like I said, a reset. My mental state kind of resets to basic, normal function. So then what am I doing in the morning to bring my mental focus on God and to renew my mental energy towards God?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I went on a long tangent for nothing. I'm sorry. I felt like that was totally a waste of time.
No, it's all good. It's just thought process, right? But no, I think that's a good way to look at it, like a daily, you reset every day. And I think it's important that we we make an active effort on a daily basis to reset our minds and renew our minds to be aligned with the will of the Father. One thing that I did really like in the book was there was one section where he basically said, like, following Jesus is completely countercultural.
Yes, it is.
Where the world is going to say, like, assert yourself. And then Jesus says, no, deny yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Or the world says, find your truth. And Jesus says, no, I am the truth. Or the world says, like, we got to win at all costs. But Jesus says, you have to lose your life to find it. Or to gain it, or whatever it was. And then it's kind of like another thing, too, where in the world, it's basically like, got to get that money. But Jesus says, blessed are the poor.
In spirit. The poor in spirit. Okay?
Fair.
Don't say blessed are the poor. God is...
Okay, fine. The other analogy that I'll use, instead of that one, where Jesus says, like, give generously. Like, don't let your left hand see what your right hand is doing.
That works a lot better.
Blessed
Blessed are the poor. I'm like, I don't think so.
I didn't recall the entire verse.
It's okay. I was just thinking, you said that. I was like, I remember reading a lot of verses about how it's better to give to the poor than it is to be the poor.
Fair. So we'll go with the give generously.
Give generously, yes. I think that word works a lot better.
Yeah. But on the deny yourself portion, what do you think that looks like?
Well, I think that comes down to, I'm going to say, a lot of self-discipline.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of I think maybe we take the denying yourself a little too literally. Like, I think self-discipline is part of it. Like, discipline is part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think part of it is denying yourself, like, in a sense that, like you said, like you were talking about with your wife, like, just let go and give it to God.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, deny yourself the worry.
Yeah.
Deny yourself the anxiety. Give it to God and stop worrying about it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let it bother you to the point where you have anxiety and panic attacks.
Yeah.
Right? Deny yourself, like, because, like, even Jesus was saying, like, don't worry about tomorrow's troubles. Today has enough trouble of its own.
Mm-hmm.
Like, tomorrow will work itself out.
Yeah.
And that's paraphrasing, not exact quote here.
Yeah.
But it still stands, right? It's still, like, see, Jesus was saying, like, don't worry about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
The ravens don't have to store grain. Their Father feeds them every day, right? We don't have to worry. God provides for us every day. And worrying about every little thing is not going to help.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's part of where we need to deny ourselves, is to, like, stop trying to plan for the future.
Yeah.
Stop trying to, like, control everything that you can control. Deny yourself that and just give it to God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me, I think I would say, like, denying yourself is a huge act of faith.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes, self-discipline to a point, but I think it's a huge act of faith. And the reason why I say that is because when you start to truly set your flesh aside and follow Jesus and start doing the things that God is telling you to do, it often contradicts what you want to do. And so it's very, like, because it goes against all logic most of the times. Like, at least for me, like, God will be like, oh, go do this thing. And I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Why am I going to go do that? And it's kind of like that Sheldon Cooper, like, from the Big Bang Theory thing, where he's, like, looking through the book. He's like, why? And it's like, he turns a couple pages, like, oh, that's why.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right? He's just
It's like God's like a couple pages ahead, and we're like, this doesn't make sense. And then it happens. You're like, oh, that's why he was preparing me for that.
Yeah. God's at the next chapter already, all right?
Yeah. So it's like, it's a huge act of faith to, like, be trusting and, like, okay, God, like, I'm gonna follow you. I'm gonna do what you command, and I'm gonna trust that you're got my best interest at heart here.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, so that's what I think I would say it is.
No, I think we're on the same page here. I think we're on the same page.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just had different words for it.
Yeah. Yeah. What did you think of the section where Mark was talking about following Jesus? You will lose something. And then he mentions that you might lose friends. You might lose comfort, reputation.
Job opportunities.
Yeah.
Like, I know that might sound kind of vague, but you know, depending on what your job is and what you're trying to do and what God wants you to do, you might lose maybe you have something close to what you want to do, or the job that you have is paying you a salary that you want, and then following God results in losing that job opportunity that you want or the job that you have.
Yeah. I mean, if God says, no, I don't want you in this industry, I want you over here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A lot.
I think that is what he said is very true.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I know coming back to God cost me a friendship, a very long friendship.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it'll stay that way forever, I don't know. Yeah, it definitely put a strain on a lot of relationships that I had, for sure.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely agree with what he said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and to add to it, I also added, like, you lose your sense of self. Like, when you become a Christian.
I don't know if I would agree with that, because I remember a quote from C.S. Lewis.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but hear me out.
Okay, all right,
Okay,
all right.
hear me out first. So what I mean by losing your sense of self when you become a Christian is that you're so used to doing everything your way, and you're so used to finding your identity in the things that you're doing, that when you become a Christian and the Bible tells you to do the exact opposite, and the Bible tells you, like, deny yourself, die to yourself, pick up your cross and follow me, love your enemies, and do all of these things that are just like countercultural, like we mentioned earlier, that I think a lot of people maybe would lose their sense of self. Like, I know I did. Like, when I first, like, I started really young following Jesus, but when I first did, I know I was like, okay, now what? And then even now, as like a seasoned Christian, there's times where it's just like, okay, yeah, but like, who am I outside of like all of this stuff?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's kind of like coming to the realization of like, well, that doesn't matter. Like, as long as whatever I do points to the Father, then it doesn't matter. Like, I don't need to worry about it. And so I think it could be like a huge like perspective shift, or like a culture shock almost, to be like set in your ways one way and then become a Christian, and then all of a sudden it's like, and you can even see it like personality wise, like when people come from a way of the world and then they become born again, some of the times you can see like a complete 180 with the things that they do. Like, when they truly dive into, I'm following God now. I'm not talking about like the lukewarm people who just got their feet in the water. Like, I'm talking about people who are like going through hardship and they're like, all right, Jesus saved me, I'm diving in. I'm talking about those people. Right. So it's like, I've seen it where it's like I mentioned, like complete 180 in their personalities. And so I feel like those people likely would lose their sense of self, of what they thought who they were. If that makes sense. I don't know. Maybe I over-explained it, but
Yeah, I think, like what Paul says, like the old man and the new man, right? So you take off the old man and then you put on the new man, which is Christ. Yeah, I could see that for sure. I could definitely see that, especially someone coming from maybe we could say like a habit-filled lifestyle to turning to God, and then being like, I don't want to do these things anymore.
Yeah.
And then and it also makes me think of like we're always in the world, and then when we're translated from the kingdom of darkness into the kingdom of God's Son, I kind of think of a person who's in a crowd, and suddenly they're lifted up out of the crowd and they're put into a different space, a completely white blank space, and they're just like, well, who am I without all these things?
Yeah.
With everything around me to tell me who I am. And then you kind of like, you're a blank slate now, right? Like, who am I?
Yeah.
Now that I'm a Christian and now that I'm not doing the things that the world is supposed to do, who am I?
Feel out of place?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Until you find a community, that is. But brothers
Yeah.
and sisters in Christ.
Exactly.
But at first, yeah, I would probably feel extremely out of place.
Yeah. I can only imagine for some people how difficult it must be to step out and then be pulled out of a certain life pattern or a certain lifestyle and be like, well, what am I supposed to, like, this is what I did. What do I do now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can only imagine. I'm fortunate that I didn't have to experience any of that.
Yeah, me too.
What did you think about when Mark was talking about the importance of repetition?
I think I agree with a lot of it.
Yeah?
With a lot of it. I think a lot of it, like, I don't know about like the whole repeating it to yourself out loud. I think there might be a psychological thing behind that I'm just not aware of,
Mm-hmm.
or that I've just not studied up on. But I do agree with a lot of it that repetition is how we learn, and repetition, repetitive, like the slogan that he was saying, right? Like repeating a slogan to yourself a few times a day, just to make sure that it really like sinks into your mind and really takes like a root in you.
Yeah.
I think those aren't bad things. I think those are good things.
Yeah, I think repetition is good if we're talking repetition in reading the word, speaking the word, praying daily, worshiping daily.
Mm-hmm.
As far as slogans or creeds go, as he was talking about in the book, I don't really agree with that. If you're really talking about, this is the way to follow Christ, I don't think taking up a creed is
Well, I don't think
one
he
of
was
those
saying.
things.
I don't think he was trying to say that taking up the slogan wasn't a way. It was just a way to stay grounded.
I guess. But I mean, I think personally, I'd be more receptive if it was like read the daily proverb daily and like read it out loud and like meditate on it.
No, I understand.
So I guess that's where I was coming from for it.
Okay.
Do you have any talking points that you wanted to cover for this one?
No, I think we talked about pretty much everything that I would want to talk about in the chapter.
What did you think of the book as a whole, now that we're wrapped up?
I thought it was all right. I think there were some. I don't know about some of the challenges that he had in the coach's corner, like the 60 week or 90 week challenge of like the commitment and stuff like that. I'm like I'm just from a practical standpoint, like unless you're doing it with a friend, who's gonna hold you to that?
Yeah.
Right? Who's gonna unless you're doing this with a friend and you're like making sure that like you guys are going to the same church or the same group meeting or whatever it is every week, or at least that there's got to be some way someone has to hold you accountable. Otherwise, I just don't see it as I wouldn't be able to do it if I didn't have somebody to hold me to it.
Is that what it was 90 weeks?
I think it was something like
What
that.
you said?
I think it was, yeah.
He put a 2-year challenge in there?
Just about. I don't think it was 90 days. I'm pretty sure it was weeks.
Oh.
Because
wow.
it had to be a routine weekly thing that you did.
Okay.
Like you are always showing up to church for, I think it was church for 90 weeks or 60. I think maybe it was 60. I'm not 100% certain.
Okay, yeah, I didn't read the Coach's Corner this week or the weekly challenge for this week.
Yeah. I don't remember, to be honest. But yeah, I think there were some that were like that. There was just unless you have unless you have another person doing it with you to hold you accountable, I don't see that as a realistic goal. Of course, trying to hammer it home that like consistency is very important.
Mm-hmm.
Like I understand, but I think that some things need to be toned down a little bit.
Yeah, I could see that. I don't know. I think it's important to have like a study partner or like a man of God to hold you accountable, like you said.
Right.
Just in general. And I mean, if there's people out there looking for like, how do I grow in the spirit? How do I grow in my relationship? Like, I want to learn more, but I don't know where to start. It's like, what I would recommend is like, find a friend that's like got like the same mindset and the same mentality as you, or maybe not. Maybe you're just both agreeing that you're Christian, and just be like, hey man, you want to study with me and we'll go through XYZ.
Yeah.
I
mean, even if you're just doing a FaceTime meetup, right? It doesn't even have to be in person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know what I will say about the book is I love how short it was. Like the chapters. But also they weren't lacking content or context.
Yeah, they were very short and concise.
Yeah, like it was like all to the point, bang, bang, bang. It was very thought-provoking. So I appreciate the way that it was written. Absolutely. That's all my comments on the book, really.
Yeah, I thought it was all right. There were a couple, again, most of them my gripes would be with the coach's corner challenges. But honestly, otherwise they're like the questions. He had good questions. He asked good questions that were like that made me stop and think and be like, huh.
Mm-hmm.
And really like question my own perspectives on certain things. So I think he asked good questions, and I think it was otherwise a good book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree. So I think that wraps up this week.
I think so.
All right. You can join us next week. We are getting an interview aligned with Mr. Oxer. I don't know when it's going to be. We've got to schedule it yet. But you can catch us over there, or you can catch us next week. We're going to be covering a new book, but we don't know what that is yet. So yeah, we'll see you over there.